Welcome everyone. Today we have Jeremy Padawer, aka Uncle Jeremy. How are you today, Jeremy?
I'm doing so good. It's so great to see you.
Thank you. Likewise. Let me just say what an honor it is to have you here today. Like all of us in the VeVe community, like we have nothing but respect for you. We love your insight, like on Twitter, in the Twitter spaces and interviews like this. Like seriously, this is an honor. Thank you so much for being here today. And we have so many fun things to talk. Like, we're going to talk about VeVe, OMI, your collection, and my favorite thing, VeVe Showrooms. So I'm really excited. So, why don't we start with who is Uncle Jeremy? So, please tell us a little bit about yourself and your love for collecting.
So, first of all, it's an honor to be here. And I've watched many of your interviews, and you're very talented in
Oh,
terms
thank
of doing the showroom tours. And I think that the entire VeVe community has a tremendous asset with you.
Oh, thank you.
You're like a diamond in the rough, and I feel like we've all discovered you. So
Oh,
that's amazing.
thank
Yeah.
you. I'm honored. I'm honored.
No, my goodness. It's my pleasure. Seriously, if I hadn't seen your previous things, I would not have been as, like ready to roll. But like, this is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You make it fun. You're such a big part of all of this. So,
Okay. So,
yeah. So who am I? So Uncle Jeremy
yes.
is a lifelong collector who grew up in the deep South. I lived in Mississippi and Tennessee and a bunch of southern states.
Nice.
And I always wanted to, I wanted to be successful, and I also wanted to work in something that I understood. So I'll kind of jump right to the point, which is to say that I got into the toy industry coming out of business school, and I've worked in toys for the last 20 plus years, and
Wow.
for the last 10 years, I started and helped develop a company that is now the sixth largest toy company in the world. And we're the
Amazing.
global partner for Pokemon and Fortnite and Roblox. And we own a brand called Squishmallows, which is we sold over 100 million Squishmallows, which is amazing in the last 4 years.
Amazing.
And Coco Melon, which is this incredible preschool property that I think a lot of people know, especially if they have little kids. But like, what an amazing scenario. So what happened was, a lot of people, when they enter into especially an older category, they go for the stuff that is the most obvious, right? So you want to do some Disney things, or you want to do something with Universal, or you want to do something with Nickelodeon or Warner Brothers. But we were new, even though I was prior an executive in the toy industry, and we were still new and unproven. So we focused on gaming, which turned out to be a great one, and we focused on social media stuff, which turned out to be great. So I guess the big lesson in life is that no matter what, no matter where you are, what space you're in, if you can't compete with the big dollars, you have to compete with a little bit of innovation and be a little bit smarter in terms of the things that you do. But I will say that at least in the world of entrepreneurship, before we had a tremendous amount of success, we got our butts kicked pretty good. So, resilience played a big role in all of that. So to summarize, again, I've collected my whole life: coins, baseball cards, sports memorabilia,
Amazing.
comic books, you
Wow.
name it, autographs. And you know, I guess throughout even my academics, I had to spend a lot of time figuring out ways entrepreneurially to pay for it. So
Right.
I did things like domain names, which the thing about domain names that were interesting is that like domain names are just like invisible pieces of property, much like the things that we're dealing with today. But in the late 90s, the mid to late 90s, it was a big mystery to people, much the way like NFTs are today.
Right.
So I've built my entire career on innovating in entertainment oriented categories. And so what's going on today with VeVe is kind of right up my alley because it's mass oriented licensing with big brands that people understand, with a tremendous leadership team that I'm very acquainted with. And so it just sort of fit the things that I like very much.
Wow, what an accomplishment. And I've seen your collection. I can see your collection behind you.
Oh.
And I
Yes,
also saw recently that you bought a crystal Pikachu for $25,000.
I did. Don't tell
Did
my
you-
wife. No, actually, I'll tell you, it's funny. So we got this thing and I was like, amazing. I was like, okay, let's put this on the shelf. My wife's like, no, we're not putting it on a shelf. I was like, what? We're not putting it on a shelf? She's like, no. I was like, we have those shelves because of Pikachu. I was like, so like, like, how about we put no. So, but the good news is I have an entire floor that I can put stuff on. So I guess
I see.
I'm not allowed to put the high-end stuff in the house. That's gotta go in a vault, like off-site.
Oh,
But
wow.
but I do get to put crystal Pikachus and stuff like that around.
Wow. Would one day could we see your physical vault instead of your VeVe NFT vault?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, it's so funny. Yeah, you know what? One day we should do a physical vault tour, which
Let's do
would
that.
require us to go to an undisclosed location
Yes.
where they
Yeah.
have all kinds of art and all those other things.
Yeah.
And that's, because really you have to be careful when you're a collector of physical stuff, which is something you don't have to worry about so much in digital.
Yeah.
But the stuff that I tend to have around me is like, it's great. It's great to be around. It shows off my personality and what I love, but it's definitely not going to change, anyone's life. But yeah, that sort of thing, you gotta be protective over. But do you
Of
want to
course.
see the crystal Pikachu?
Yes, please.
Okay. So this is the grand unveiling. I don't think
Oh my
anybody's
goodness.
the
Okay, I'm
idea.
ready.
Okay, here we go.
I'm
So
ready. Wow.
this is a giant box. You have my
Oh my
white glove
gosh.
here. Okay,
You gotta
so
have the white gloves.
I'm going to show you what a $25,000 Pikachu looks like here.
Oh my gosh.
This a little bit.
Can't wait. Can't wait. Okay.
Here we go. All right.
Shows the process. Shows the process, like how to put the gloves, how to open the box.
Here we go.
Step one.
Step one, gloves. Well, actually, step one was maneuvering the box around. I feel like a mime.
And you have the shirt too.
I have the shirt. Oh my gosh, I am. I'm a mime, everyone. This is Uncle Jeremy's a mime in real life. By the way, that's how I got so successful. I'm the most successful mime in the world. All
That's the
right.
secret. That was the secret.
Okay, that's the secret. Okay, here we go.
Okay,
So
let's
this
do
is
it.
actually quite heavy. I think this thing probably weighs maybe 30 pounds.
Oh wow. That's a
So
whole baby. That's a Pikachu baby right
this is
there.
a maybe. So this is the Baccarat 1 of 25
Wow. Oh
Crystal
my
Pikachu.
oh my goodness.
And it was hand designed and developed by a serious artist in the field.
Amazing.
It started with one piece. This is all carved from one piece. And I'll show you. I'm laying it back in its coffin. This is what it looks like.
Oh my gosh, that's just beautiful. That
Yes.
is beautiful, beautiful.
And then they provided this. Let's see. I haven't even looked in detail what's in here, but essentially the numbering. Oops. The
Wow.
reference number, the year. The Baccarat obviously is a very well known in this particular space.
Yeah, yeah.
Look, I had to have it, and there's a
Amazing.
reason.
Yeah.
Pikachu has made a big impact in my life. I mean, so I started with Pokemon in 2005
Wow.
when we originally pitched for the global master toy business. So I get to take off my mime gloves now. My
Really?
mime's over. And it was an interesting time because what had occurred is that in the late 90s, Pokemon was about the biggest thing going. It was just a monster, right? It was
Right.
huge.
Yep.
And it came out of the gates like nothing else. And they sold a lot of cards and they continued to sell a lot of cards, but the toy business was with another company, Hasbro, and it really took a hit. over the years. And, Hasbro is a big, very, very good toy company, but when a brand kind of gets to a certain point, you don't invest in it very much. So I was an executive with a smaller toy company at the time. And I said, look, we will immediately invest a tremendous amount of money in developing Pokemon's toys, creating new tools for characters, etc.
Wow.
every season. And it actually worked out really well. What I didn't fully understand about the brand, which I do now, is at the time it was every 4 years, and now it's approximately every 3 years they introduce a new generation of Pokemon. And
Mm.
essentially what that means is they introduce like 100-ish new Pokemon. And it just so happened to be the year that we launched was the year that they introduced the new generation. So I felt like a bit of a genius, but I didn't know how lucky I was. Like I was a lucky genius, right? And
Wow.
and by the way, I've been a very unlucky genius too. In fact,
Really?
no one calls you a genius when you're unlucky. They only call you a genius when you're lucky.
That's true.
So the
That's so
truth
true.
is, none of us are really all that much smarter than the others. Some of us just happen to be more resilient. Some of us can take a beating and keep going and keep a positive attitude. And with Pokemon, it was a great example of things coming together in the right way. I'll tell you, it was truly amazing. I mean, we had year after year of success, and then in 2015, many years after we started our new business, they reached out to me and they said, "Would you like to pitch for the global partnership again?" And I said,
Wow.
"Absolutely." And
Amazing.
not only did Pokemon grant us the global rights before Pokemon Go launched, amazingly, but they also invested in the company. And at which
Oh,
point, Mr. Ishihara was the final sign off. Mr. Ishihara is the creator.
yes.
It's really an amazing situation. I sort of found myself, you know, um, kind of like feeling like I was walking on clouds a little bit. You
I
know,
bet.
one of my daughters was like, "Why are you crying?" I was like, "I'm crying because I don't know. I'm
Happy
happy."
tears.
But no, just to summarize, I mean, it turned into a great situation because over the last 4 or 5 years, not only have we turned Pokemon into the biggest toy brand it's ever been, but also we've taken on some of the other major monster licenses, and we're executing so well across everything that's the reason why we've become one of the biggest toy companies in the world, which is a bit of a shock as well. And I know we did everything right, and I know we were ethical, and hopefully, if there's a few lessons to be learned during this interview, it is that you can be honest, you can be ethical, and things can work out. So that whole nice person finishes last concept isn't necessarily true. And I can speak for that because I do believe that, I've worked with thousands of people, I've managed thousands of people, and I don't think you can find a bunch of people that'll line up to say what a bad manager or human that they dealt with me or any of my business partners. So
Mm.
you guys can do it, whatever it is, whatever that dream is.
Yes.
As long as you can take a few bad outcomes along the way, the good ones are there. So there,
Yeah.
that's it's a long statement about a crystal Pikachu.
Well, it was a great statement. And I every time I see your Pokemon collections and your videos, all I can think of is if Ash Ketchum ever grew up, it would have been Jeremy Padawer. For
Maybe.
real.
I mean, thank you for that. I don't know if I'm as brave as Ash. Ash goes onto a field and comes across these unknown, interesting Pokemon, and I wish I was that brave.
No, but I mean, you talk about your success, and it wasn't all perfect. You went through struggles as well. Some things worked, some things didn't work, but throughout the process and your experience, I mean, that's what shaped you to become what you are today, and all the accomplishment that you have, done until this day. So I think you're Ash Ketchum. I'm gonna
That's
call
a
it.
great
I'm gonna
one.
call
I
it.
love that. By the way, that honestly, I think that is my favorite. It's certainly a lot better than Steve from Blue's Clues, which
Well, that was my second option. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I'll take Ash Ketchum any day of the week. That's
Awesome.
amazing. Thank you. Thank you.
It was cold here.
Yeah, that's great. I'm
Well,
down.
we can all see your love for collecting, and we know you from the VeVe community, you know, how you collect NFTs as well, VeVe NFTs. And, you know, you said you've been a collector for your whole life, but for other people that are not familiar with the concept of NFTs,
Yeah.
and all of all of their lives are only known physical items. Like, how
Yes.
would you explain NFTs to them?
I like this question a lot. Are you ready?
Yes.
I'm going to use a prop.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to use a prop. And the prop
Perfect.
that I'm going to use is a basketball card. Okay.
Mm.
So this is not any basketball card. This is a Michael Jordan 1986-87 Fleer rookie card. Okay. And it is not in great condition. This was a card that I had when I was a little boy, when I was about
Oh.
12. I got this card. I pulled it out of a pack. And if I had kept it in pristine condition, it would be worth probably $400,000. Okay.
Wow.
But in the condition that it currently is in, it's worth a very small fraction of that. But for the purposes of this conversation, we're going to pretend. Oh, where's my finger? We're going to pretend like this is a $400,000 card. It's
Okay.
perfect. Okay. All
Okay.
right. Now, in this hand, I'm holding an NFT. It's invisible. There's nothing there, but it's there. Okay. In this hand, I'm holding a $400,000 card, right? Now, what's the difference between these two things? So one is physical and one is digital. So digital means invisible. One has a value of $400,000. And let's just say that this digital NFT also has a value of $400,000 for this conversation. So they're both equal value. But what's the true difference between these two things? And this is the part that I think will open a lot of eyes. The cost. Oh no, I just dropped my NFT. Hold on, I got it.
Oh,
The cost of this card to manufacture was probably a penny to 2 pennies, maybe 3 pennies. Okay. So the cardboard, the printing, the labor, all of the things that went into cutting and preparing this card, maybe it was 3 cents. Okay.
mm,
This, from a physical standpoint, didn't cost anything to manufacture. It cost to make. There was someone out there doing the labor to make it. But the only thing physically different between this and this is 3 cents in the cost to manufacture it. This is a physical item that has atoms. It has a molecular,
mhm.
footprint, and this doesn't. But at the end of the day, you're only talking about 3 cents in difference. Now, in terms of utility, this item can only forever be a card. That's all it can be. But this item can be more
Yes.
because it's a digital piece of information that is owned by you and has scarcity and rarity, just like this. But it also is morphable. It is evolvable. You can add different functions and features to it. So let's just say for a minute that what this item is it's Michael Jordan's jersey that you could wear in the metaverse. Okay. So in generation 1 of the metaverse, it's a physical image. It's a digital image, excuse me.
Digital. Yes.
In generation 2, maybe it's a wearable jersey on your digital character. In generation 3, maybe it's a wearable jersey on an iteration of you that you literally feel like you are yourself rolling through this metaverse. And then by the time you get to the final concept of where a metaverse could go, which is a real extension of all 5 senses being plugged into something, all of a sudden you have this incredible experience of perhaps being like Michael Jordan. While this can really just be a physical card, this has the promise and the potential of being a lot more from a utility standpoint. So The truth is, what's the difference between these two things? There's a lot of difference in terms of what utility. There's a lot of difference in terms of the molecular structure, but they're both scarce, rare collectibles. And the only thing that's different from a cost standpoint is that this cost nothing from a physical standpoint, and this only cost about 3 cents. And that is my explanation as to why NFTs might have value and why a collectible NFT does very seriously if it's authenticated and it does have all the scarcity and you're dealing with the right type of vendor like a VeVe, like an Ecomi,
Right.
um, you have a promising future there.
Yeah, and that's a great explanation. And I love that how with NFTs you can have more utility than just, putting your physical collectible in a stand, or somewhere in a drawer or in a box. Like with NFTs, you might be able to take them to the metaverse to be the NFT itself. Like what an experience that will be. And
Yeah,
I really love also how NFTs like give you almost like through up to this point, like through ownership of an item, you know, either ownership of a digital item or true ownership of a digital item tied to a physical one as
yeah,
well. Yeah, so I mean, NFTs, there's so much potential, so much future for the utility that is just there's great things coming ahead that I'm very excited to see as well. So thank you so much for explaining it.
of
And,
course.
and like you mentioned about VeVe and Ecomi. And I remember you had a great interview with some wonderful woman from the VeVe community where you explained that when Dan and David, the CEO and the COO of VeVe and Ecomi came to you to pitch you the idea, you were a little bit skeptical because, you
Yeah,
didn't like the concept of VeVe didn't fall into something you were familiar with, you know?
yeah.
So now that you're more familiar with VeVe, how would you introduce VeVe to other people? Let's say Gary V, who loves NFTs,
Yeah.
loves the VeVe community as well, but is not that familiar with what VeVe is and what VeVe does. Like, how would you introduce VeVe to them?
Well, listen, I've had the opportunity, interestingly enough, recently, Gary and I texted about
Oh,
VeVe, and we are communicating openly, and we're gonna be setting something up, early next year, to have an open discussion, and, likely will be, some of the key people, at, Ecomi/VeVe, Gary V, myself, and it'll just be a really fun, big opportunity to talk about what this is. But what I described to Gary is essentially, um, I'll draw the analogy to my world. Okay,
okay, okay,
so in my world, I sell physical product, right? And when I sell physical product, I sell to different distribution groups. Okay, so one category that I sell to is considered mass. So our company, will sell directly to Walmart, we'll sell directly to Target, we'll sell directly to Amazon. These are major retailers, right? With thousands of stores and thousands of doors. And their consumer has a particular desire in terms of product at great quality, at great pricing. Um, and the product is quite good. But you're not going to go in there and find items that are $1,500. I mean, you can go into Costco, by the way, and find some things $1,500. And trust me, I've been the guy that goes into Costco and says, "I gotta have that $1,500 thing." But set that aside for a second. But you've got Target, Walmart, Amazon, those big giant, really successful and plugged in accounts. And then you have a whole world considered a specialty, right? And specialty would be accounts that range from like mom and pop accounts where there's just a couple doors to like a learning express where it's very focused on the betterment of kids through toys that are both educational and experiential, and just a whole host of accounts, Hallmark store, like a whole host of accounts that range from really, but they tend to carry items that are sometimes more rare and more expensive. And so what I said to Gary, I was like, listen, the interesting thing about VeVe is that they have cornered the market for mass produced, value oriented NFTs with giant licensing partners.
Yeah.
Like in my world, like we're one of the biggest toy companies in the world, but we only have a fraction of the total massive licenses. So the total toy business globally is like $90 billion. And we're not $90 billion. We don't do $90 billion a year. We do a lot. I will tell you that. And I'm very proud of that. But we don't do 90. So what I'm trying to tell you is if we had the footprint in the toy space that VeVe has in mass oriented, mass friendly brands in the NFT space, we would be by far, no questions asked, way bigger than the biggest toy company in the world. And that's the way I described it to Gary. I was like, listen, Gary, this is a mass oriented product. This is for the masses. Yes, there's secondary market value. Yes, but ultimately, the reason why I believe in this is not necessarily because I'm going to flip anything, because I don't really sell stuff, but because I believe that they're going to evolve with the marketplace, and they are really well positioned. Like, the metaverse has been around for 25 years. Since the dawn of the internet, that's when social footprints started being created. Like if you had a oh gosh, what was it? Not Mindspring, but what was it before Facebook? There was another one before Facebook.
MySpace.
MySpace.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I can't believe I forgot. If you had a MySpace account,
Yeah.
you were participating in the metaverse in 1999 or whatever it was. You had a digital footprint. You had a personality that you were being reflected online. You had photos and images of yourself, probably, having fun or whatever it was it doesn't matter. But you get the point. The point is like those were the earliest building blocks. If you've ever played Roblox, and you have a personality people know, if you have a YouTube account, this is all participating in the metaverse. And so the way I look at VeVe is they're just exceptionally well positioned in the NFT and the future metaverse space with some of the biggest brands in the world. And that's what strikes me. And that's how I described it to Gary in terms of where this was going. And there's a lot of amazing NFT programs, one of 10,000s, and those programs they're going to do fine. I mean, some of them won't, by the way, a lot of them won't over time, but some of them will, depending on how well their community is structured and whether they don't overpromise, because overpromising destroys trust. When you overpromise in a personal relationship, when you overpromise it to a consumer, overpromising is a disaster. And so, but I see a lot of overpromising in some of these one-off projects where they're going to grant the world. But in this particular case, you've got this, and I'm also involved in another thing called Eternity. They're taking an approach as well with authenticated licensed goods. And like, I guess the point of the matter is authentication is critical. Big brands are critical. Longevity of those relationships are critical, and transparency and not overpromising critical. And VeVe has a massive footprint in the mass channel, which is where the most volume and the biggest potential influx of players are. And that's essentially what I communicated to Gary Vee in our discussion, in our long texting.
Wow, that's amazing. And we can already see VeVe's footprint. Like in an article that came recently, it said that VeVe has generated sales more than 112 million dollars, and is leading the NFT space in the mobile sector in the apps. So we can already see that huge footprint that VeVe is taking over the world.
Well, and to put it in perspective, and I saw that, and my note was, that's great, and that growth is phenomenal, but the potential is much greater.
Yes.
Because I do want to, again, put this all in perspective. I told you the total market potential of the toy space is 80, $90 billion a year. So if you do $100 million, I mean, don't get me wrong, $100 million is a lot of money. It's awesome money. Like I respect. Look, you $10,000 is a lot of money. I mean, I respect people and money and all of that stuff. So don't take this as a disrespecting any amount of money, especially money that's ethically earned.
Right.
There's no small amount of money that's ethically earned that I don't respect. Okay. With that said, $100 million would literally be this, and $90 billion is the whole script. Okay.
Yes.
So they're right here right now. But here's the potential. I can't get my hands on the script. But the point of the matter, you get the point. The point is the
I
potential
do.
of this is massive, and they're just scratching the surface. So that's why
Exactly.
I look at this, and that's why, personally, I'm well invested in OMI, and that's why I look at all of this and say, um, I'm in for the long game because if you look at Apple, I'll give you a quick story about Apple. You
Okay.
ready?
Yes.
Okay. In 2000, Apple's stock was trading at $60 a share, and they announced bad earnings, and they went to $30 a share.
Um,
Okay. And I happened to have $10,000 at the time, again, which is a lot of money. I get it. But I was buying and selling domain names. And I put that $10,000 into Apple, and the stock went from 30 to 18, and I sold. So I lost 4,000.
oh,
If I had held, I believe that $10,000 would be worth like 3.5 or $4 million.
oh
Okay.
no.
But here's the point. The point is, when you see something with such massive potential, where right now you're this little speck, but the whole screen is the potential. Okay. If the little speck goes down a bit and you go from 10 to 6, just keep in mind the bigger play, is
Right.
all I'm saying. And there's no promises. Apple could have gone from $12 to zero. OMI could go to zero. Any of these things are possible, but that's not why I've invested and held, because I believe in the spec versus the big play, and I just see the remarkable licensing relationships. And so, anyways, I'm great at answering a short question with a long answer.
No, no worries at all. Thank you. And yeah, like having a broader perspective of what Vivi is going to be is so essential. And also the team behind it, like the team behind it is what made me invest in Omi as well. So I think Vivi, Ecomi, they check all the boxes for like a secure investment. You just gotta have diamond hands. That's all. You gotta have the diamond hands.
You have Crystal Pikachu hands.
Crystal Pikachu hands with the white gloves. Mime
That's it.
hands.
You gotta have white gloves and Crystal
Yes,
Pikachu hands.
that's what you need. So
Yes.
now that we're talking about OMI, I wanted to get your thoughts on the OMI Utility Program. Like the first version came out, so I wanted to know, like, what do you think about it? Is there something that you would like to add, change, but most importantly, as an OMI investor, like, would you be interested in staking your OMI under this program?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't think that they're asking too much. I forgot, what was the highest staking level right now?
So far, 10,000.
I mean, look, for
$10,000.
me, that's not a massive ask.
Yeah.
Okay. I think if you have 11,000 in OMI and someone's asking you to stake 10, it's a very different perspective.
Right.
So it all depends on your relationship in terms of the amount that you're investing and the percentage of which you're being asked to stake. I would personally be open to staking, a lot more, because that's my current relationship with investing and money. Um, and there's no judgment. It's no better or worse. It's just as a percentage of what I would have as available capital. Um, I think that they should let people who have a little bit of money, on the lower end, jump in and participate. And I think they should have people that have a lot of money be able to jump in and participate. The one thing that I do think is that the amount of money that you have should not give you a disproportionate advantage in getting new big opportunities.
Right.
So I think that there has to be some limits. Um, I'm the first person to say I'm willing to pay all my taxes. I don't complain that I live in California. I got to pay my state tax. I got to do all that stuff.
Mhm.
I'll figure out the ways to, to do it ethically and limit certain things, but I'll pay my taxes, which essentially what I'm saying to you is, but I'm not asking for anything additional. It's what I have to do. If I earn more, I got to pay more. Um, I don't want to see people who have a bountiful benefits, um, disproportionately win. But I also understand that you need to keep those folks interested. Um, the best case scenario, really, for OMI over the course of time, is that it goes from, I think there's like 150,000 holders or something. Isn't that the
Yeah,
number?
around that number. Yeah.
It needs to be 10 million. you
Mm,
know and then when you get to that kind of number, what you have is a situation where you tend to have very few whales floating around. You just got a lot of people who are invested and part of the bigger community. So, I'm saying a lot here, and I'll just kind of parse it down to say there's got to be a way to include, a lot of different types of investors and respect each one of them wherever they stand. I think they've come a long way to doing that so far. I think there's another step that they can take, and I don't necessarily have the answer as to how to protect the smaller amount investors from the bigger ones. But I like when they call people whales versus sharks, because
yes.
I consider myself more of a whale than a shark in real life. I'm not out there to eat anybody. I mean, I'll eat the plankton. I'm a big old plankton eater.
The plankton.
Listen, okay, well, all right. All right. So let me rephrase that. I want the plankton to do perfectly well, okay?
Thank
I'll
you. Thank you.
Yes, yes. I'll work on, I'll be perfectly happy with a diet of air. But, you know what I'm getting at.
Yes, yes.
So, yeah, the whole concept of sharks is a bit outdated.
Mhm.
So I do like the idea of whales, not necessarily the killer whale type.
Yeah, well, something that we saw recently, I think it was today, that they're planning to add different tiers. They want to add more tiers into the program. So hopefully that will be more things for everybody and in a way that it will, be fair, up to a level, because always somebody who has more money will always be able to acquire more things. It's just how it is. But I like how VeVe always tries to make things as fair as possible. So let's see what they will come up with the second version.
Yeah, and you know what? There was two things that I liked very much. I liked the fact that they immediately sought feedback from the community.
Yes.
Immediately. It was like upon the announcement they were asking for feedback. No, I thought, like, for instance, Foster did a great job, with that YouTube interview,
Oh yeah.
with Rise. And I just thought that, and I thought that, from a leadership perspective, the Ecomi team making themselves available that quickly, it's just, it just reflects how much, both that group, that team actually cares, and what kind of amazing people are evolving and coming from the community itself. So amazing job, great job, Foster, and well done, Ecomi team.
Yeah, they did an amazing job. The dynamic and the topics that they went through for the OMI Utility Program was exactly what we needed. Every time something drops, we're like, okay, what does this mean? Could we do this? Could we do that? So it was a great interview. I agree.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
And they did it through several iterations. They did it on an AMA. They did it on a interview. They did it, on the YouTube interview. They did it through Twitter, and then they had version 2 out within, goodness, like, I don't know, was it a week? 2 weeks?
Maybe less than a week.
And that's impressive,
Yeah, they're working on it so fast. It's amazing.
I just, that's the way to go. And
Yeah.
that's, again, it's a different world that acts in a different time frame now, especially with 24/7 Twitter. That makes CNN and Fox News look like it's super slow when you're dealing with Twitter time.
Yes.
So no, they had to do it, and they did it. And you know what? A lot of companies will not move that quickly, and that'll be to their deficit.
That's so true. That's so true. Well, I look forward to the OMI Utility Program. Like,
Yeah.
I have my little bag that I'm ready to stake. So I'm ready
Good.
for that. Okay, so let's talk about something which is, from all the VeVe experiences, for me, this is my favorite one: vault building.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes. And this is what I know you for.
Yes.
Yes.
So basically, what I mean by this is, like, VeVe has showrooms where you can put your NFTs,
Yep.
and people in the community, they have taken this to another level. They have created worlds, experiences, recreated scenes from movies. They have done, like, and we still don't have the VeVeverse, and they're already creating entire worlds within the app. So the main reason why I wanted to show you this is because it has so much experience in the toy industry, where you look at play patterns and what people do with their toys, right? So
Yep.
now in the digital world, we're seeing people playing with their NFTs and creating these showrooms. So I wanted to get your reaction and your opinion on this. So I'm really excited. So I'm going to bring up some videos for us to react to. But first, we need to do it properly. Just how you show your Pikachu with the
Yes.
gloves. We
Yes.
need to have the experience. We need hats. Yeah, I got my hat. Are you ready to put your hat?
I am.
Okay, here we go.
Let's do it.
Let's do this. Okay, I even have popcorn snacks to enhance the experience. But these showrooms are so amazing. I can't wait to show
I
you.
can't wait.
They spend so many hours
I
creating
don't
this.
Can you describe, like, I don't even know, like, how do they, like, are the tools there to do this? Or are they using external tool? Like, I don't know how they're doing it.
Basically, VeVe has these empty showrooms, just walls and a space outside that you can go out to.
Yes.
Which was by mistake that people were able to go outside the showroom, and they take the NFTs and they expand, scale them, or turn them in ways that will look like something they want it to look like. For example, they use the DeLorean fins they turn it and hide it in the wall, so you can get the shelves, so they can put other collectibles on top, like the ones you have behind
No.
you. Yes. they I saw recently somebody build a room with the collectibles. So use a piece of one collectible as the bed, use the Batman cape as the sheets of the bed. I'm telling you, it's taking creativity to another level, and I love it so much because You can get, like, let's say you can go to a metaverse and you can get, or to a game, you can get tables and shelves, and you can, choose colors and all of that. But this is a different skill. You're having NFTs that look however the artist wanted them to look, and then you gotta turn them into what you like and what you want to create or recreate.
Wow.
So for me, that's a different skill, and something completely new that is basically, for me, it's like a digital toyland. And that's what I wanted to show it to you,
That is so
because
cool.
you're in the toy industry. So I feel like this is something new to experience. So I'm so
I can't
excited.
wait.
Okay, let's do this. If I can learn how to share this properly. Let's see. Are you ready to see the video?
Yeah, let's see it. This is crazy.
Yeah, we had our Christmas hats because this one is a Christmas themed showroom.
Oh my
So
gosh.
let's see.
Let's see it. No way. What? That is wild. So
I
they've
know.
essentially, wow, they're using the basis of the stamps as a shelving system with a skateboard deck. Is that right?
Yes.
That is sick. No way.
Amazing, right?
Yeah, that's really clever. I mean, honestly, that is super clever. Wow.
Yes.
Okay, I
So
get it, and
beautiful.
and look at that Disney gold at the top.
Like the star of the tree.
Oh, man. That's an
Beautiful.
expensive tree.
Yes, it's a very expensive tree.
Very expensive tree, yeah. Man, I do love it. That's so well done.
Yeah, so beautiful.
Oh, and it's the whole basis of it is another skateboard deck, I think.
Exactly. It's a hoverboard from
Oh,
Back
that's
to the
right.
Future.
That's
Yeah.
right. Wow, how cool. Now, whose showroom was that?
Get Richie.
Wow, Get Rich did an amazing job. I
He
can't even
really did.
imagine how long that took. That is so cool.
Yes, it's just amazing, and perfect for this season as well.
Well done.
Yes, definitely. So now, are you ready for the second one?
I'm super ready for the second one. Let's go. Let's see
Okay.
it.
This one might be like a roller coaster because it's like a mixtape of all the showrooms that I could find that could fit
Awesome.
into this song. So this one is gonna be a journey. Are you ready?
Yes, let's see it. I'm ready. Wow. No way. Now that looks a little bit more like my showroom. Cool.
So cool. Look at that.
Wow. Wow, they stacked like what? 8 of those together.
So many.
No way. These matchups are intense. Oh, no way.
Look at
Oh.
that.
Oh. Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
those are really cool.
Yeah.
This is, some serious creativity. I don't think
Oh
that
yeah.
anybody ever imagined some of these mashups.
I couldn't. Look at that.
Oh,
A motorcycle.
that is so cool. No. Wow. Nice.
So nice.
Cool Marvel program and
A
they
claw machine
oh, that's
from
great.
Collectibles. Yeah.
Oh, wow, that is so cool.
Yeah. And look at this one. This is like a Pac-Man game.
What?
I know,
Oh,
right?
what did they use for the dots?
The USPS stamp. for the drop, the government stamp. Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Right?
Yeah,
He built the game right there.
that is really funny. Skateboards have come in very handy, those decks, and what are they called? The levitation boards,
Yeah. The hoverboards.
hoverboards. Gosh, what's
Yeah.
wrong? Yeah, the hoverboards and the skateboard decks have come in incredibly handy,
Oh
as did
yeah.
the stamps.
And many
Wow,
people use them to make walls and many things.
that was intense. That was,
Sorry, it was like a bunch of images at the same
no,
time.
it just goes to show you what the creative community within VeVe is capable of. Like, imagine what's gonna happen when they have even more tools to develop against. Uh,
Exactly.
I just can't. I will say this, one of our brands is Roblox,
Right, right,
and Roblox, has been remarkable. It truly is the one of the very first, metaverse experiences from more of an immersive experience standpoint, where you can build your own worlds.
right,
But the value of Roblox has so much to do with the value of the people that are creating against it. It's an open creation tool like Minecraft, except more gaming oriented.
right.
And I could absolutely see um, VeVeVerse having some of those elements, especially with the type of, the community in VeVe is a little bit different. Rather than gaming, it's more chilling and hanging and, spending time together. Um, Maybe enjoying things like that adults like: music, reading, um,
Right.
content, entertainment, dance, like all the stuff that's not necessarily competitive in nature, although there could be competitive stuff happening. It's
Yeah.
more just experiences and, enjoying yourself in a Ready Player One universe where people are not necessarily trying to kill each other for the $30 trillion inheritance. But
Yes.
no, that's really inspirational to see what the creative community within VeVe is able to accomplish with very few tools.
Exactly. It's definitely a skill. So, and do you think one day we will be able to see your Vivi Vault? If
Yeah. I've been so quiet about my VeVe Vault because, it's really been like I guess m my own day-to-day focus is dealing with 1,000 employees, that are amazing and developing a company. Um, I haven't spent the time, and so I don't want people to go there and be like, "Boo, this sucks.
what
Jeremy
is
sucks.
this?
Uncle Jeremy's a fraud. He doesn't know anything."
No,
Um,
no, no. But what about this? What about this? When Vivi comes with the web platform, it will be easier to drop the NFTs and create your showroom. What
yes,
about if by that time, if you have a chance, we can do another video with, we call them the Vaultaholics,
nice.
and we can go through your vault or you can do some other reactions. What about that?
Here's the thing. I'm back no matter what.
Oh,
So,
awesome.
yes, you
With
don't
a
need
hat, with a new hat too.
with a new hat. Maybe every season we get together. But no, I'm just
Oh,
telling you this. Like I said, you're a really tremendous asset to this community,
oh, thank you.
um, and it's interesting the way it's building out. Like I said, you have your creative side, you have your journalist side, you have I'm sure that people that are just going to be incredibly talented at creating content and creating experiences and gosh, when David and Dan and Al came and talked to me 3 years ago about all of this, um, we did not dive really into the concept of community at all.
Yeah.
And the discussion was more about the potential of digital collectibles. Um, and me being a collector, I can tell you everything is about community. I mean, that's the reason why
Yes.
Comic-Con exists.
Yeah.
20 years ago, or a little over 20 years ago, when I was at Mattel and we brought back He-Man at the time. And we did an okay job. It wasn't stellar, but we had one of the first limited edition items at Comic-Con. And it was 2000 or
Oh.
2001. And we didn't know. We didn't know whether it was going to be successful or not. And they opened the doors in the morning. It was like 7:30 or 8 or whatever it was. And in the distance, you heard like this rumbling. Like, what's that? And then the
People with
rumbling,
the sword. With
yeah.
the
And then
human sword.
rumbling came closer and closer and closer. And we're like, oh my God, there's a herd of people running towards our booth to get this limited edition. And then I'll never
Wow.
forget the one thing that to this very day I heard, oh my goodness, my knee. And I'm like, oh,
Oh
this
no.
sucks. Yeah, so some lady bit it, like, like running towards the booth. And all I saw was like this blonde hair like fly towards like both these knees, like hitting the ground at
Oh
the
my
same time.
goodness.
So, anyways, she ended up getting one for free, I think. But 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 it was an amazing lesson, and the lesson
Mhm.
was, hey, collecting is not just about secondary market value, and it's not just about expressing your own affinity. It's about being a part of a group. And the
Exactly.
one thing that I can tell you about collectors are not the most judgmental people. They're not. They
Hmm.
don't care if you've got 1,000 things or a crystal Pikachu, or whether you've got a couple cool cards, or whether you're just super educated on it and you're down to talk about it.
Yeah.
Collectors just want to be a part of something that they have an affinity for. So none of us were talking about community at that time, but it was very apparent to me that they had considered community very deeply in the earliest days of the launch of the app. And that's what was really appealing to me. I was like, wow, they really, I mean, I don't know, at the time, they had hundreds of followers, but they were embracing of them. And I could see
Yeah.
the conversations. And I just, for me, I was like, oh, should I buy one, two, or 50 of these McFarlane Batman? Because people aren't picking them up yet. But then, a few days later, they're sold out, and you're like, whoa, that was interesting.
How many did you get?
Just one. I wasn't. No,
Oh.
no, it's okay. I'm thrilled. I'm glad that other people got them. I
Right.
got mine, and I was super stoked. Got my ultra rare Harley Quinn and
Nice.
various things like that. But like, you know, I could have bought 50, but that I just to me it wasn't the right thing for me because I want it to be one of the people that helps plant the seeds, but I don't necessarily need to have all the seeds in my hand. And I'm really stoked about the currency and the token as well. But the point of the matter is that communities make for successful brands in the collectible space. And I don't think there's a stronger community out there. This is a big, big, very engaged community of people. So,
Yeah, I never seen this before. I
no,
mean, the positivity and engagement is what made me join as well. Like I was seeing the pictures and the creations of the vaults, and I wanted to get involved. I was like lurking around with my private account, but everybody was so engaging. VeVe, Ecomi with the community. It was just like such a perfect combination that you
yeah,
just want to be part of it. You even people who said, "Oh, I never created a Twitter account, but I'm doing it because, I want to be part of the community." So I think that's the difference, one of the many difference that, VeVe has made on this space.
I agree. I
Mhm.
agree. And I saw it from the beginning, and that's super intriguing. And, you know, the sky's the limit in those types of scenarios when you do have an engaged community and you give them a few tools and they're able to pull this off. What a remarkable thing that they're pulling off. So when they have a lot of tools, it's going to be pretty sick. It's going to be pretty
Yes.
sick. I can't wait to see what happens.
And now that you say that, like, what do you see the future of VeVe? Like, what do you see in the future for VeVe?
Well, right now, um, I think that okay, I'll draw an analogy
Okay.
to going to Walmart. Okay, so as a collector, you go to Walmart right now, and if you like WWE or AEW wrestling, you pick up those wrestling figures.
Right.
But you don't just go down the aisle throwing everything in the aisle in your basket. Oh, I want this one on Transformers and this and that and everything else because there's a lot of stuff there. And there's 50 brands in the action figure aisle alone going at one time. And then the doll aisle and everything. Like if you went through all that, it would be ridiculous. First of all, your house would look like a mess in 5 seconds.
Yes.
So what I suspect will happen is I think people will become more specialized in the things that they like and collect because there'll be way more brands and I think there'll be way more people.
Mm.
So when you're at 1 million people, it's a lot. Um, but you still have people that are kind of buying every drop or they're going after everything. But I suspect by the time you get to like 10 million people, 15 million people,
Wow.
um, and you're dropping things all the time, like many drops per day, every day, um, I think people will focus on the things that they have a specific affinity and desire for.
Right.
So Disney people will collect more of the Disney stuff, and people who um, like smoking rabbits will collect the smoking rabbits, and people, you know, oops, I think I'm frozen. Am I frozen?
Oh no, I can see you.
Okay, hold on. I'll start
Okay.
over.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, and people that collect, various things will focus on their things. And like I said, so when you go to Walmart, you collect the things that you specifically the brands you have the biggest affinity for. But right now you go on VeVe and you throw everything in the basket.
Yes.
Um, and I don't think that's the future of it. I think there'll be secondary market value, obviously. So there'll be certain things that are chasers that draw in cross collectors. So maybe you're traditionally a collector in this, but now you're going after this, but for the most part, I do think people specialize when there's a lot of opportunities offered.
That's so true.
And
And
yeah, and that's part one. That's on the collectible side. On the VeVeverse side, I think that seeing those vaults, it's just a little glimpse into what the possibilities are when people are really armed with the development tools. Um, so I think that the VeVeverse, in my opinion, will be more about um, reinventing ways to hang out, converse, communicate. Maybe there'll be trading posts. Maybe there'll be, you know, dance halls and various other things. But everything will be centered around community driven stuff, ways to engage with community. And that's what I figure that'll be all about.
yeah, that's amazing. And I can see that the Viviverse bringing not only what we're seeing today, enhancing it, and maybe new things that we never would think of, you
I'm
know? So,
sure.
yeah, I'm so excited for that. And what about in NFTs in general? What do you see the future of NFTs going towards?
Well, it's going to be a mixed bag, okay? Because right now, there's a lot of people minting NFTs in a lot of different ways at a lot of different price points, making a lot of different claims. And some of them will not live up to their promises. And it'll be a painful experience for some people. Um, and I think that'll turn off certain people, depending. So I do believe it'll be a mixed bag, um, and that's has a lot to do with the fact that when you don't when you have a licensing deal with an authenticated brand, there's a long game. There's a long game plan. I think brands like Bored Ape Yacht Club and things like that will should I think they'll do well over time because they kind of broke through. You know, CryptoPunks is one of the earliest ones. They broke through,
Yeah.
but and I'm not going to name ones that I don't think will work, but 90 something percent of them are money grabs, just cash grabs, where there's no long term plan, and it's just about separating you from your money and separating people. But I don't want to be negative because what I don't want to do is I can't. I couldn't tell you for sure which ones are which. I just think that
Mhm.
people need to be aware that what goes up can come down very quickly,
Right.
and that a lot of that has to do with your game plan. And just the bigger the community, the more engaged they are, the more opportunity they have to engage with one another, the better your chances are for longevity. The bigger the promises and the bigger the delta between the promise and the delivery, the the bigger the risk.
Yeah.
And
Well,
unfortunately, there's gonna be a lot of those.
yeah, yeah, definitely. And I just hope so that I hope that in the future there will be more utilities tied to your NFTs. So
Yeah.
many of these projects, can stay afloat and continue, and who knows what they will become. But yeah, there's so many things to think about also, like the bad reputation that they have with the environment and things like that. So I think if NFTs continue to have more utility and they're focused more on being carbon neutral, like VeVe is, I think there will be a better future for them, definitely.
Oh, for sure. Well, listen, NFTs in general, you're right. As utility continues, I think there'll be collectible NFTs, and then there'll be NFTs for utility, and there'll be NFTs that are being used in so many different ways, ticket
Right.
sales and music, and just to think that every NFT could be worth $1,000 is a little misleading. Let's
Yeah,
put it
yeah.
that way.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Jeremy, for your time. It has
My
been
pleasure.
a big pleasure. And if there's a message that you want to give to the VV community,
Yeah. So here's my message. My message to the
okay.
VV community is that it's been so fun to watch this evolve, and to see like what I considered good-natured people leading a good-natured organization from all exterior views, and a community that sort of reflects that in the way they treat one another and the way they engage. Now, negativity is not necessarily a bad thing, but when people are being challenging, they're also being respectful for the most part in this community. And they've been very patient. People have been very patient waiting for what's going to happen with OMI and waiting for how are they going to get their gyms and all this other stuff. But I think what they also recognize is this thing grew way faster than anybody could have ever imagined. Trust me, there's no business plan that shows a million plus people by the end of 21. No chance.
Amazing.
So I think that VeVe, Ecomi, I think that they should be very thankful for the community's patience. And I think that it's going to be very interesting to see what evolves with OMI, and very amazing to see what evolves with VeVe. And I'm super excited to getting, not just digitally more acquainted with people in the community, but physically. Like, I think that there's a lot of fun that we can all have together. I see parties in the future. I see hanging out, and I see that both in the physical space and the digital space. So I'm excited about that.
I'm excited as well. Well, thank you so much, Jeremy, for your time. It's been amazing getting your insight in all of this and reacting to showrooms and all of this. So excited for the future, and you're welcome anytime. Please
Yay.
come again.
I will. I'm really excited. Look, as they introduce new big things, I would love to occasionally come in here and chime in. But no, this is a true pleasure. I can't, you, much like VeVe, are going to have growth that's disproportionate to your expectations.
Oh, thank you.
So
Thank you so
I
much.
can't wait to see I can't wait to see what happens with you. I am sure that
Oh,
it's going to be a very good thing. You are a pleasure to talk to.
thank you so much. Likewise, likewise. So have a Merry Christmas, even if we're still 25 days away, but have a Merry Christmas. And I hope that you spend a wonderful time with your family, with your $25,000 crystal Pikachu.
Thank you for that. And the Crystal Pikachu thanks you as well.
Well, thank you, Jeremy, for your time.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oop, hold on.
A little bit.
I don't know what I did. You know what? It's so funny. You wear a shirt that is so weird. Hold on.
You can create a new style.
Yeah, this is like the new style is called crappy style. This
It's
is
good. It's so good.
my new style is zero style. All right, hold up. Okay, whatever. Wait,
I
why do I
think
keep grabbing that side? See, here's the thing. No matter what happens in life, you can't stop being a dork. Give me a second. This is
no problem.
ridiculous. I'll be right back.
No worries.
I'll be right back. Okay. I got rid of the t-shirt. Now I feel way better.
Awesome. Awesome.